welcome everyone. You're listening to and perhaps watching Calling the Audible.
Perhaps.
If you don't know, now you know. I am Peeze I am joined, of course, by the less charming, less handsome Simon Dagenet.
Oh, yes. Hi.
I was actually going to give Eagle a compliment. Hi, Eagle. How's it going? 'Cause I'm going to trash him the rest of the show, so I'm going to start with a compliment.
Hello. Say something nice about me.
I will. I was going to say, because even though you're not on camera, you're dressed in a shirt, and then I looked over to Simon and I realized, why are we the only ones who don't dress like children? Of all the people we know.
I love how putting on a shirt is apparently impressive now.
Well,
and they really come to that
point.
The standards have definitely
We got to that point, and then that point's going to disappear in a few years.
It's
on the bubble.
waves, right? Because we started where this was basically like a radio show, just a podcast, just audio. So basically, we could be in our boxers. And like we stepped it up because we're on camera, and now you're slowly working your way to your boxers. Is what I'm
We're
seeing.
slowly moving backwards.
Yeah,
I missed the time we were in the boxers.
Okay, I wasn't there for that. Kind of wish I was. I was thinking about the Bible this week.
Why?
Just something like, so you gotta think of the setting, right?
Okay.
For those who don't know and aren't practitioners of the Judeo-Christian faith, I am not particularly one of them as well, but I was raised as such, so I do have some knowledge. I like how you drop the music just as I'm talking about Jesus. But so, the setting is, they're in the desert pretty much the entire time, right?
Yes.
All the time.
Basically.
They're desert people.
Basically.
Cool. So there's this miracle that Jesus performs. Jesus, that's his thing, right?
Yes.
He does miracles. Walking on water, not on water. Water, not on water. Great party chick. Leper, not a leper. No problem. All that stuff, right? However, one such trick was he turned all these barrels of water into barrels of wine.
Yes.
So what if you reimagine it as him being a selfish drunk?
Okay, so on the flip side of that, maybe you could only turn water to wine. I mean,
you just keep it as water.
I mean, he's in the desert.
But he's in the desert.
Water
Where people
is
need.
very valuable.
That's what I'm saying. And why did he turn it into wine? Like, people are like, what a jerk. What are the kids going to drink? There are children in the desert. Thanks, Jesus.
Because wine dehydrates, and you're in the desert.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it serves no one except you want to have a good night. What's happening?
Some Christian rock music.
I was like, what is this? I don't even know what that is.
All praise to Jesus.
All praise to Jesus as well.
Can we leave?
As to our latest sponsor, DAZN. Want to catch every NFL game this season? DAZN, that's DAZN.com, is the only place in Canada that will show every single NFL game live, including all playoffs and the Super Bowl, plus NFL Game Pass, NFL Red Zone, and NFL Sunday Ticket. DAZN is offering Canadians more access to the NFL than they have ever had before, with no blackouts. DAZN can be viewed at home or on the go, on smartphones, smart TVs, tablets, on gaming consoles. Fans can watch their favorite teams, leagues, and players for an affordable monthly price of $20 or an annual subscription of $150 per year, because it's annual.
As many games as I want on whatever device I want.
That's what I said?
Yeah. Praise Jesus.
Sounds like a miracle to me. Simon, we have now entered bowl season officially.
Yes.
As
I'm very excited.
We get closer and closer to the games. We talked about tier 1 last round. We're going to get into tier 2 games today. So the guys playing in tier 1, watch the show if you enjoy it. If you just want to hear your name, I don't know, look in a mirror or something. And just say your name, because otherwise if you just look in a mirror,
drop a few names.
Yeah, we'll drop.
We're talking about awards this week.
We are actually. So that's a reason to listen. And we'll do them sometime during the show and give you no warning, so you'll have to watch the entire thing.
One of them has already been posted online, apparently.
What?
Why?
Yes. Don't ask me, I don't know.
What?
Don't you have a phone?
Man.
Don't you have a phone? Look at your phone. You have it in your hands and you're looking at it.
Confused.
I don't see a notification yet.
I did get a notification, but I thought it was just like, hey, Peeze is talking about this.
No, it's not.
God damn it, Rob.
It's only one, so technically it's a tease.
It's premature immaculation all over the place.
Are we talking about drills at this point in the show?
Yeah, we'll get the drills in a second. But the Lapierre Bowl.
Okay, so first bowl.
Yeah.
First set of games.
Has X-Men, the 1 seed, facing off against number 4, the Voodoo, from whichever pools they're from. Eagle will give us the information in a second.
They are both from the Daquila pool.
Oh, from
X-Men finished first, Voodoo finished fourth.
That's a genetic pool from
that's
which
a very DBH based pool.
Yeah, one cannot recover from those genes. In the last game, week 9, X-Men won 39-31.
Yep.
Over Voodoo.
Yes.
I've heard, although it wasn't the game, Voodoo were only 5 guys.
They were correct.
Awesome. So,
Knowing
comes to
this
game. What?
Knowing they're only 5 to lose by 8 points is very impressive.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, but who, like, do you think X-Men are like pounding the chest, like, yeah, we took that pool, we're number 1? But like Voodoo are on the other side saying, guys, we should have beat these guys.
We were 5.
And we're only 5 guys.
For just explanation purposes, even though the X-Men did win, they were up by 2 scores and then some, and then Voodoo scored on the last play of the game, and then they called it pretty much. So it actually was a larger deficit than you actually would.
But see, that's the X-Men defense. Voodoo are sitting at home saying, I don't care. 8 points.
They still scored 5 times.
We served 5 times on a team with
one
more
less
players. Yeah. We have one less guy. They could double our best guy.
Or they could send 2 rushes at all times.
Yeah.
And still win.
Yeah.
It's glorious.
So that's who do you think has the greater like
Advantage?
psychologically coming into this game?
Psychologically, Voodoo, because they have an extra guy.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like 20% bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. X-Men still scored 39 points. Like, you were 5. But
Against
looking,
5 guys, though.
But looking at
you
Voodoo,
could score 39 points against 5
yes,
guys.
I don't know. I've had a pretty tough season.
Depends on the week.
But looking at over Voodoo's schedule, they were very good early in the season. They went 4-0 in the first 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
They've lost the last 4. I mean, it's not. Yes, they were only 5 this week, but they weren't 5 guys.
Yeah, they definitely had a lull where they haven't been playing their best football.
This coming in to lose your last game of the season like that.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter when you lose. A loss is a loss. Like, so if they lost the first 3 games
It's
and
a
won the
losing
rest,
streak, though. Like,
but it doesn't matter. Each game is so when you then win a game, your losing streak is over.
Yes.
So what? The loss doesn't carry over to the next games, you know.
Okay, I see what you mean, but like,
every game is an independent result.
But you're talking about who coming into the game psychologically wise. They're on the losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
Will they have their guys there? Like, if they couldn't make it to last week's game,
I have it on good authority.
Okay.
That they will.
Okay. So
it's full team versus full team as far as I know.
In that case, it should be a close one. The result should look similar to this one, but it might be the other way around.
Kevin Bustani threw a touchdown on a trick play.
Yeah.
Do you expect X-Men to run this kind of offense or go back to their traditional offense?
I don't see why they wouldn't if it worked. Like, did they do it just because they were facing 5 guys and they were trying something new because whatever, this game's over, we're up by 2 or 3 scores, and we just let him scoot. Like, it's a 9-yard touchdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been they got the ball back 9 yards away, and Kevin Bustani played quarterback for that drive. It could have been a trick play, but if it's only 9 yards, it's not a 40 bomb.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like a desperate play on a desperate play. So if it worked once, it should work again. And Voodoo's going to have to adjust to that. So that could give X-Men an edge, or give Kevin Bustani an edge.
I disagree on this one. The entire game, it was basically Kevin Bustani versus Philip Cotrabati. The offense, defense, back and forth, one-on-one.
I did read your
the
tweets,
entire
so.
game. Yeah. So
Rob's tweets.
Yeah. But even I was actually there. I watched that game. So if you think of it this way, it's a way to throw off their defense, right? If you have a guy lining up one-on-one, let's say man coverage the entire game, and suddenly Kevin rolls into the backfield and throws a touchdown pass, well, what does Philip do? Does he look for a receiver downfield? Does he follow him and after a rush position?
Well, if it's like a handoff play,
exactly.
It's
It's a very strange way to like design
Yeah.
a defense around, so it catches them off guard. Second time around, I think they might be prepared for like, what am I supposed to do this time around? You know, you've seen it once, and the second time you go, okay, I'm not going to chase after him. I'm going to drop into coverage.
It also takes Phil Cotrabati out of coverage. So
Also,
that's an interesting byproduct. The other thing here, I've loved Pat Santana all season, and
Yes.
I have actually from last season in general. I liked him as a quarterback throughout his career in FPF.
Yeah. I mean, he's more known as like a 2-way DB receiver kind
Yeah,
of.
but when he's played quarterback, he's always done well.
Word on the street is Patrick Saint-Amand is the quarterback moving forward with Zoo.
That's interesting.
because Frank K is not fully healthy yet.
Well, depends if he comes back as a receiver. Frank's a decent receiver.
But Frank K is not currently healthy.
Yes,
is
also.
the reason currently.
Yes,
They
it's the
may
reason-
also decide to
But
move forward with
I
Zoo.
think the Eagles' point here is that Frank K might play receiver from now on, and Pat Saint-Amand might be the quarterback for Zoo.
It's possible.
Moving forward in time,
Yeah,
in the future.
correct.
I have a credible source on this.
All right.
Is it you? Are you the source?
I know what the source is. That's not the point. Why would you reveal the source? That said, do you consider this to be Pat Saint-Amand's worst matchup? or best matchup.
Well, I think they match up better against X-Men than they would against Greendale Human Beings, which are also in their pool. But the way X-Men's defense plays is it works really well against Pancinema style.
I guess, but I feel like X-Men are static. Like what you see is what you get.
Okay.
They play a defense or two all game long. And what Pat Cinema does well is stretch the field vertically, horizontally, and then attack the intermediate, which is hard to defend when you're playing like standard cover 2 defense or 4-1. Like that's the way to attack those defenses.
But the X-Men's credit is they're a veteran team.
But I think X-Men are going to have to score. I don't think defense will have any bearing on this game.
So you think there's going to be no turnovers? It's going to be at least 5 scores, like 30 points each side.
Yeah.
So it's similar.
I mean, we saw that with like Pat Cinema put up 31 points with 5 guys.
It's true. That's fair.
I think if Voodoo pulls ahead, X-Men's not catching up. That's the way I see this game.
I agree. X-Men is not the type of offense to overcome large deficits.
Absolutely. What topic you want to go with?
What topics do we have? Oh, we have the Eagles drills. I like that.
I'm terrified of this one, actually. But go ahead, Eagle.
So, as some of you may know, we have the Combine coming up for the individual registration. Coming up November 30th, 8 to 9:30 at Hebert Dome. If you're a captain, come visit.
It's not Black and Take a drill.
So, we were talking about this when we started previewing what the individual registration was about, and, we're going to have a Combine. So, I wanted to ask you, what specific drill are you interested in seeing players execute that you think you would be looking for from a captain position? Like, what would you be interested in seeing someone do on the field?
I think Combines generally are...
That's not the question, Peeze. Answer the question.
I'm getting to it. I'm building context.
I hate context.
I think they're generally stupid because...
Context.
No, but like...
I'm still waiting for the answer.
Seeing how a dude plays...
Because...
In a vacuum doesn't indicate future success all that well, in my opinion.
Okay.
However... this is me answering the question.
Okay, go on.
However, if I'm looking for something specific, a rusher, who's fast AF? If I'm looking for a receiver, who can catch and who would have trouble contracting diseases in a third world country?
Okay.
If I'm looking for a defender, there's no way to really tell unless you see him play in a defense with other people.
Okay, so
maybe in a scrimmage, for example, if there's a scrimmage, I'd like to see that more than I'd like to see a combine.
Okay.
3 cone drills and 40-yard dash times don't matter that much.
Okay, so that's fair. So your point is you want scrimmage over drills?
That's stupid. Go ahead.
Simon.
I'd say the one drill which isn't really a drill that I want to watch is one-on-ones. So you have a quarterback throwing to a receiver and there's a DB playing man on him. So you could see the quarterback, the DB, and the receiver all at once in a very FPF environment.
Yes.
If the quarterback can't make the pass without pressure, you could see right away that he's not. Like, you could see right away his level. And on the flip side, same for receiver DB. If a DB can make a play on a pattern, even if you could see if the guy is good or not right off the bat. Like, you could rate him quickly based on one drill. And I mean, the point of the combine is to see if you're Division 1 talent or Division 6 talent.
In a world of Simon Dagenet where there's absolutely no intricacy and everything is exactly at face value, I see what you're talking about. But I think that's the dumbest thing you've ever said. And that's drawing from a large repertoire.
Yes, there's a lot of things.
Yeah, because that's fine. But in the end, a guy who's just faster than another dude will get a step on another.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And it doesn't indicate, for example. So when I give in an FPF huddle where you have no time at all and there's no practices and there's no time to really explain what you want, if I tell someone, look, I need you to run 10 and in. But then that guy doesn't know whether to sit in the hole or continue the route or runs around at 7 yards instead of 9 yards at 10.
Like, you could also see that right away.
Some stuff. But you're not the one throwing, you know what I mean? Like,
I agree,
he's not fitting into your specific system.
It's not flawless, but I think it's the
entirely
better
flawful. Like, exactly. it's entirely flawful.
Like falafels.
I love falafels. A team that has been not without their flaws is Greendale Human Beings.
Yes. Well,
they do take on All Hooks. All Hooks is a second-ranked team, and Greendale Human Beings are a third-ranked team. This, to me, across both tiers, is the best matchup in FPF this weekend.
Agreed. It's the best two teams in the tier 2. Danny's back from it was an injury, but from surgery, I believe. So yes, they had a few bad weeks because Danny wasn't there, and like he's the essence of the team. He's the best player on the team. So to have him back is big.
Brandon Aylward would have something to say about that, as would Alex Joltepuff.
Second and third place in the D'Aquila pool. Also played week 9. All Hooks were won 38-37.
Yes, that is correct. They played last weekend and they won by 1 point.
The amount of week 9 rematches is a little.
There's a lot of them.
It's bizarre, right?
I was doing, but it's interesting because it gives a lot of rematches, and rematches are fun.
It's always harder to win against the same team, but it's even harder twice. But it's even harder if it's back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, like as a quarterback, especially, you know exactly what you saw last week, and like, all right, this look I gave them.
They remember too.
Like they remember, but you like the quarterback's in more control because the quarterback knows. I know they remember I did this.
Yes.
So now I'm going to attack them with this.
Yes.
You know, it's good.
But then the defense knows that they did this, and therefore he's going to counter like this. So we're going to do this, and then it's
one thing we know for a fact.
I know you know, but you don't know that I don't know. Therefore, you know that I know.
Defense is stupid. So being that defense is stupid, they will not make the adjustment.
But to your point, in the 38-37 game, both offenses thrived. So there's no. The defenses have to step up in a way because they allowed 6 touchdowns each.
Brandon Aylward unstoppable, 4 touchdowns on 6 receptions, 175 yards. Jesus.
But to me, looking at these sheets, both teams play well, and if you only win by 1 point, this game could go either way in the rematch. Like there's no given for either teams.
Who's less coverable? Who is the most uncoverable of these two players? Is how I should.
Who's the second one? Brandon
Aylward.
Yes.
And Jeremy White.
Brandon. He's been. There's something about him with his brother that makes other teams. If you look at him play, he's not that spectacular, but he puts up 200 yards like 3 times.
Is it just targets though? Or
no,
is it just
he doesn't have that many targets. Like 6, 7, or 8. It's a lot, 7 or 8.
But
to put up 200 yards throughout 7 targets is ridiculous. Like he's not getting 40 bombs over and over till you catch him. Like he doesn't drop him, and he gets the 2 of them per game.
I would argue the strength of the All Hooks offense is not their receivers, but rather Charles-Olivier Leving's tendency to shuffle and basically scatter in the pocket and everything, find an open receiver downfield, not necessarily on the routes themselves. Whereas with Aylward, you know the ball's coming, and you still can't do anything about it.
Well, with Aylward, he does do a lot of that scrambling a lot as well, but will he be limited by Thomas Couture?
Well, he's very good at rushing to one sideline or towards the line of scrimmage, and then deciding at the last second, am I throwing this ball, am I running it, taking the sack for little gains or whatnot. That's something that Joey Taylor does very well, and I think since he played with Joey so much, it's something he incorporated in his offense. It's very efficient, and to see that Thomas Couture sacked him for 22 yards on 3 sacks shows that it's not always the 1 yard sack he gives away. Just this is better than throwing a 50-50 ball. Mm-hmm. In these cases, maybe he was trying to move and couldn't. So there's a big chance Thomas Couture has a very big impact on this game.
In the Adriano Tassone Bowl, Eagle, you've been in FPF a little bit longer than I have, and you're playing in this bowl. Can you give us a bit of background as to who Adriano Tassone was?
Adriano Tassone was one of the, if I'm not mistaken, first members of the FPF community a while back and everything. Played for the Rainmakers, if I'm not mistaken, as well on that. Unfortunately, passed away at a young age and was very deeply missed by the FPF community. And so was honored basically every single year is added to the Rainmakers roster just as a symbolism that he's always with the community. And then on top of that as well, now this bowl has been created on his behalf. There's been a few in memoriam, I guess, events or posts in the past around him as well. So very, very dear to members within the FPF. This
was the only FPF bowl name I actually liked seeing. So happy that he got remembered that way. But in the first game for the Adriano Tassone Bowl, Lockdown is the 5th ranked team of whatever.
Of the D'Aquila Bowl.
There we go.
Ironically.
Obviously.
The worst. Obviously.
You see how stupid it is?
It's great. He's the worst of himself.
Versus the Warriors were the 3rd seed of... this is actually pretty fun.
One job.
The De La Rocca pool.
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
That's the only one I remember actually. Because of the rivalry that's been happening.
But is that bowl based on you or your brother?
So D'Aquila versus De La Rocca.
Warriors, hope you coming back.
I don't think they do.
They'll lose this game on purpose. The Warriors won last time 31-26.
Also week 9.
Yes.
Eagle, what happened?
Well, couple things.
They're better than you. Next thing, they are though. But continue.
So first off, the lockdown roster was only 6 that week. We had some last minute.
Can you admit it though?
No one
that they're better
cares.
than you are.
But based on the roster that showed up, they were way better than us. Yep.
Huh?
Yep.
Fair.
Absolutely.
This is closest to get to the admission.
Cool. So they're better than you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The Soleimani brother combination was really dominant across the board and everything. On the lockdown side, Bryden Streeter had a field day in this game. So did Antoine Martineau. It basically came down to lockdown driving on the last play, first and goal, 4 plays left, pretty much, and just couldn't pump it in.
Goal, sorry, yes.
Yeah, couldn't get it in. The Warrior defense held, is really what you can say. And little mistakes here and there. On one play, defense blows coverage. On another play, get burnt on whatever it is. Another play, it's a scramble, it gets picked instead of a touchdown in red zone. I mean, it's little small things that change the outcome of this game. Probably, I would say, the most fun game that I've played in this season, specifically. For any of the, I'll call it, media hate that's gone the way of the Warriors, none of it showed up in this game. It was amicable on both sides. Everyone had a lot of fun. Everyone said it was good.
The complainometer has gone down.
Very,
But honestly,
super enjoyable. Honestly, one of the better games this year.
And again, I'm not one who needs to feel like I'm always right. I don't know if you know this about me. I'm very self-secure,
and I know you.
So because I don't really care what other people think about me. I truly don't mind being wrong, which is why I make these loud, obnoxious statements all the time.
That's right.
But I will say, to the credit of the Warriors, since the event happened, and the next week as well, there was some issues as well. I feel like they thought that they got burned by the league, whatever. Since then, I will say, the team has been more enjoyable to play against, play with, to watch. Comments I've heard from referees, from other teams as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy they're enjoying the league. And again, I'm not against trash talk. Please do trash talk. And the game actually I played against the Eagle last season in playoffs. All it was trash talk. It was amazing.
Trash
we got
talk
a beer immediately after the game.
Trash talk
I was trying to get the refs to throw flags.
I was also trying to get them to throw flags in a very different way.
You gotta know where to draw the line when you're trash talking.
And the thing is, to me, it's the begging for flags it's an admission that you weren't good enough to make a play and you require the referee to bail you out constantly. And if you ask for a flag every single play,
if you ask that,
man, that's a long game.
If you've got to ask, it wasn't obvious enough.
Yeah. Also, you couldn't.
I mean, if the guy drags you by your shoulder and drags you down,
usually gets called.
Usually, if that doesn't get called,
and who watches the NFL and is like, man, I wish this game had more penalties. Like that's what you're asking for.
Also, in what world have you complained about a flag and got the flag after the complaint? I've never seen that happen once.
Just to add to that, I think we've all been in a situation where something happens, let's say, and you're like, where's the flag for that? And the answer from the ref is, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. That has to be somewhat of a valid reason from a ref. It's not, if he tells you that I saw and it wasn't the flag, you kind of have to accept that. And if he says, I didn't see it, you also kind of have to accept that.
Well, it's happened to me. I've been laid out by a rusher 2 full seconds after I threw the ball. Turned to the ref, like, what happened? I turned my head to follow the play. Like, it was way after the play. I didn't see it. I saw you on the ground, and I don't know what happened because I have to follow the play.
That's true.
Like, all right, well, you're right.
And then from that point onwards in the game, they're going to spend a little bit more time making sure you're protected, right?
For the most part, most referees will actually, if you force them, will. But anyway, we've done all this. We've done the referee show. It's not interesting.
So all that to say, it was a fun game, and it came down to the last plays, and the Warriors stood firm.
So do you think you have a chance next week?
I have a better way to frame it. Stefano Soleimani took out his big footballs and rubbed it all over your defense. Who's responsible for Stefano Soleimani this week?
I'm not going to admit
who it is. Who's responsible that we can hold accountable? You don't have to tell us the game plan. Who's responsible for taking him away so when you lose this week, we can call them out next show?
I am ultimately responsible for my defense.
I hate you so much.
Write it down. Write down what you're going to do. I'm not going to say it, but I will say it next week. And I will laugh at you for your inability to adjust. Eagle is ready to get down, by the way. I got to say, Eagle's a good sport. Because in front, like, he gives the stupid captain response, which is awful. Oh, I'm responsible for my defense. Blah, 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 blah.
If the guy gets
You're not getting paid for this Eagle. It doesn't matter.
Well, you kind of is.
Well, no,
his teammate give him money so he could pay the league.
That's just paying their debts. You think Simon Lockdown will have the roster this week?
The roster, yes.
Do you think-
Will it matter? No.
Well, we'll get the picks. I made my pick already, but you have to wait.
Again, like to me, the roster was not the issue, and
I was on offense.
So yeah, the roster.
that's glorious. By the way,
The
I
roster.
play with Eagle on offense. It's the best.
You threw him a ball once.
Yes,
It was
I-
pretty-
more
got
than
it.
once because he dropped the first one. So.
Why? So, and like to the point of the Warriors, I have a similar topic. I will read this out loud. Diego, thank you. Your writing is garbage. Thank you for being a good sport, and I will absolutely read this on air next week.
That's perfect.
So
Yes.
That being said, Mike's only
I'm talking.
That doesn't matter. He has throws a nice ball.
He
He
does.
throws a nice ball. It's hard to break down.
Are you done doing the thing where you kiss ass to the opponent before your game?
No.
Are you done? Can I move on? Can I continue? Can I get the show moving?
Sure.
So similarly to the Warriors have felt as though people have lined up to watch them fail.
Yes.
It's just, I feel it's this like
It's the
human
no-regard
condition that's coming across us that's almost as detrimental as a plague. When I see, for example,
The plague,
Lonzo
really?
Ball,
Okay.
people lining up to root for a 19-year-old to fail in his career. That's what you're saying.
Yes, that's what it
Imagine
is.
you meet a kid who finishes CJAP, and you're like, you know what? I hope you're shit. I hope you amount to nothing. I hope you're terrible because I don't like your dad.
I hope
that's
it's-
the equivalent. That's
I
the
hope in
equivalent.
6 months you get fired and you never find another job again.
Yes, that's what
That's
people are
basically
saying.
what people are asking.
So
them.
imagine someone leaves with like health science degree and is like, you're gonna amount to nothing. You'll never be a doctor. You're a piece of garbage.
Yeah, but that's also because his dad keeps rubbing in your
Who
face
cares?
that you're garbage
It
and his
doesn't
son's the
matter.
best thing in the world.
First of all, his dad can say whatever he wants, correct or not incorrect.
Agree.
Secondly, who cares what his dad says?
I agree, but at the
Also, the other thing is we want the father to be involved in, let's call it what it is, African American families, right? It's a thing that gets criticized all the time.
Also,
Here's a guy who loves his children.
also,
That's the thing he's saying. I love my children. I believe my children more than Michael Jordan. My dad also believed in me more than Michael Jordan. That's fine.
it's one thing for him to believe it. It's another thing to go all over national media and brag about how great his children are as
who
compared to
cares?
everyone else.
But why is it a
Because you
problem?
paint a target on your kid's back, and now he's your
Why is there a target? But why? No. The issue isn't the dad painting a target. The issue is people put a target on a child.
There's a term called managing expectations. He set the world up to say, "My kid's the best.
You wanna
Just
live-
watch," and now he's not living
you
up to
wanna
those
live-
expectations.
You want to live in the worst version of our
Well-
world, where no one says anything.
That's not true. It's just
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. I accuse you of saying your answer before when you talked about the Warriors game was exact garbage. We won Alonzo Ball and you gave me nothing. You're terrible. Turn your mic off. Simo?
Jacuz.
You can turn your mic
But-
on. Eagle.
But the discredit, you want your dad to cheer for you.
Yes.
He's supposed to cheer for you.
Yes.
He's your dad. He's not supposed to say you're shit.
And here's the
Go
thing: is that
home.
when they came up with their own shoes, like guys, why is the alternative like, no, you know what? We want to cheer for the big corporations.
But it also
We
worked.
want the big corporations to win.
But it also worked.
Yeah, you got him drafted second overall.
They weren't known, and now they are.
Absolutely,
It worked.
they're
Like, so-
ball busters, so to speak.
The only difference here is since the Warriors are not getting paid to play, you're not getting real media out of this.
No, I'm not saying it's they're
I mean,
situation. I use it as a segue.
technically, we could say no regard worked because Lance has a job now with us.
It's true.
That's
It's
a
definitely
different that's a different situation.
I prefer unbranded shoes.
That's just because. Oh, I'm gonna get to that in a second too. I have another topic here where I'm gonna hammer you. 'cause
That's
you're
your
wrong.
segue into the next matchup.
I'm gonna hammer you.
Unbranded.
Yeah,
Yes.
NoName was a terrible one. NoName itself is a brand, and a brand in FPF as we've come to know them. NoName take on Mean
I should have seen
Machine.
this one coming.
1 versus 2. Is NoName truly the favorite? Question mark.
To me, like they beat Mean Machine a few weeks ago, so they'll say that they're the better team because they beat them before.
The score was Eagle. You can use your mic to be useful.
I'm looking it up.
I think it was 26-21.
It was 26-20.
Oh, I was close enough.
NoName won.
That game was all over the place. A few guys from Mean Machine got ejected, got OCs, so did Sean Collins. It was one of those weird games where Mean Machine added under control and just lost it in the second half.
But that's one of the things NoName does.
Yes, that's-
is they get under your skin.
That's what Jonathan Grizzly does best.
Yeah.
He gets under your skin, and then he manages to piss you off just enough, so you get like,
And he'll never lose.
you get enraged, and then he just walks away like nothing ever happened.
I think this was the game where Sean Collins pulled himself, right? And
Yes.
then from this point onwards, they switched and had
Yes, that
the
was the
Grizzly
game.
run as QB.
Yeah, that was the game. So speaking of Grizzly, he's averaging 3 touchdowns per game.
Mhm.
Is that enough?
In playoff football and FPF, and this is as close as we're going to get to playoffs with the Bulls, you need 5 touchdowns to win.
Also, Mean Machine has a good offense.
Yeah.
Like we've seen him.
But NoName do have a very good defense. However, despite the adage that defense wins championships, that's not the case in FPF. Offense absolutely wins championships.
Yes.
You need to score
Kevin
5
Wyatt.
touchdowns. Exactly.
Kevin White does not play defense.
Nope.
What advice do you have for either team? Pick one. Give an advice. I'll
I'll do NoName.
do Mean Machine.
NoName needs it to be a muddy track. If this is a NASCAR circuit, they're done. They need broken plays. They need Grizzly pulling plays out of his hat. They need him to avoid making mistakes, but at the same time be able to win a game where they score 3 or 4 times. And they need to limit it to 5 possessions per team.
Okay.
With more possessions, Mean Machine will pull away. If they can limit the possessions, NoName, I think, win this game. And again, also, do the thing where you irritate the hell out of your opponent.
Oh yeah.
Because it worked last time. It may work again. They may smarten up. They may say,
Yep.
look, guys, it's what they want. But
So they're
it
trying
may
to
not
do-
work. Yeah.
So my advice for Mean Machine is don't let them get under your skin. So play smart. Know that's exactly what they're going to attempt to do. To go along your muddy track, advice is take shots at 40 bombs right off the bat. If you could score with very few plays every drive, NoName cannot keep up. And just take Robert White away. If you take Rob White away from their offense, they're going to struggle, and you guys are going to take it away.
Also, Mean Machine, 7 receivers in your last matchup. Come on, man, get a starting offense.
Why? It
Because
works?
you have 7 guys rotating in and out.
Did it work?
But that happens in a lot of teams, dude. Like,
Did it work?
they're
No,
a lot
they
of
lost.
athletes.
No, fair.
I mean,
I mean, if they win.
I like how, to answer Stimo, you just preach to the most basic, again, no context, just, no, they lost, so therefore it didn't work. Even though they've probably been doing it all season long, it didn't work.
Most likely.
Yeah, this one game is the sample size that decides what I think.
So, to switch topics, because I feel like we've talked about this a lot. We have games in Brossard.
Yeah, I hate it.
Brossard now, the city, has a new law. You're not allowed to be nude in changing rooms anymore.
Can we name it something? What's a good law for no naked people?
But I said nude no more.
Bill 69.
What? Law 69? Law 69?
So, you're not allowed to be nude in vestiaires.
Can you look up what Law 69 actually is in
It-
the back? I'm curious.
That's cool.
Well, considering the Burka ban was 61, 69 probably doesn't exist yet.
Really? We've only passed 61 laws in 300 years?
That's not enough. We should be in charge.
We're very liberal.
So, but to be fair, that rule only applies to pools. So, like, if you go to indoor pools, you're not allowed to be nude in vestiaires anymore.
Yeah.
But
In the public space, though, you can go behind the curtains and do whatever you want.
I have no idea. I only read the headline. But
You
honest.
sound very informed on this issue,
I'm
Simon.
honest. But
You're what's wrong with journalism?
yes, I only go on Twitter, read 150 characters. That's enough for me.
MTL blog is his
But-
favorite of news articles.
But my point is,
Articles.
You'll never believe what's coming to Montreal this year.
Unicorns.
but my point is, if you're going to pool, most likely to work out or with children, you want to change afterwards, right? Like,
Imagine. Like how old you get home?
you're not keeping your bathing suit on underneath your pants.
No. We're not children.
Even the kids don't do that anymore. So basically, you're not allowed to change to go like fully nude in the vestiaire. What are you supposed to do? Put like a very long shirt on top first.
And what exactly is the punishment? Is it a fine? Is it?
I guess it's a fine. I don't know. Like the
It's
article.
chopped off.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? They're gonna write you a ticket and then you gotta pay it.
So I got this information from somebody that works at that pool, and he told me that there's been complaints about like you're walking in the vestiaire. There's a lot of nude people.
To
And
be
it's
fair,
annoying. And
there's always, when you go to the gym, there's always that one guy who's weirdly comfortable
yes.
being naked.
So they had complaints about that one guy.
And it usually look like me. So it's a
Yeah,
problem.
Eric Canvai. Come on, man.
So they had complaints about like that guy.
Mhm.
So now they're putting this law where you're not. But the city puts in the law. Like, at my pool, we don't want it. It's like the city said no.
That's so
Is that a bit like?
I mean, I don't like government intervention in anything. So for me, I find most of these things to be bizarre. It's like when you play.
And mind you, like the new municipality, like we just elected new people for the
but
cities.
likely was in process before.
But that might have been like the first thing they've passed.
Maybe I
As my first act, never nudes.
I would imagine at this time they're probably organizing themselves. And
It's awesome.
the projects they're going to see for the next couple
The
months.
first
from
project
the
ever.
last- is the life from the last leadership.
No,
but
no more.
we'll see.
69.
It's bizarre. I don't know.
I don't.
Like, who is it truly offending? Just look somewhere
Also,
else.
like if they would have like co-ed bathrooms, I could understand.
Yeah.
But who cares?
Yeah. Also, who cares? Yeah, that's bizarre. But we'll get into the next bowl. Of course, is the Tony Tabet Bowl.
Yep.
We have Hold My Beer at 4 against Los Banditos 2.
Hold My Beer finishing 4th in the Del Rocca pool. And why can't I find these bowls for? Yeah, they finished 2nd in the Dajne pool.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's why I couldn't find it.
Hello.
It was intercepted.
It was intercepted on the way. I was about to say.
They did not play each other.
Nope.
However, does anyone lose more first round playoff games than Brad Evans in FPF?
Peeze.
No, we beat him last year. So
Little Roos.
no, but this is not like it's not a shot coming from last season. He wasn't even quarterback last season of his team that when we beat
Yes.
him. The thing is that there's something about when he's in the pool stages in the season, he always excels, and I feel part of it is you're not always playing against good teams.
Fair.
However,
Playoffs is
once you
different.
get to the playoffs, once you get to the bowls, you only play against good defenses.
But in this case, might not be true because everybody makes a playoff. So this is technically just another regular season
so
game.
do you think this will have more of that kind of feel than a playoff feel for Brad Evans' team?
I think they're going to play against a team that knows it's the playoffs, that knows there's a lot on the line. Los Banditos is a very good defense that might shock Hold My Beer. They might take him by surprise. I feel they have the right pieces to shut down Brad Evans' offense.
Mhm.
They have this.
They do. They have a great defense.
They have the speedster safeties to take away the deep balls that he likes to go to Michael Gazaka or the deep ends to Miles Kyler. And without that, his offense is just trailing. It's tough to watch. He doesn't seem comfortable in going to short distance patterns over and over and over again for 30 times in the game. So at some point, he's going to take a shot.
Because, in my opinion, guys who aren't sort of natural quarterbacks don't want to throw 30 times a game because they know the more they throw, the more likely they are to make a mistake.
Fair.
So that's why, in my opinion, like, yes, throwing a deep ball on the surface seems like a riskier pass, except A, if it's a turnover, it's deep in their zone. B,
Fair.
like, you can place the ball in a place where it's safe, where it's going to be either incomplete or
it's
caught.
the INT into punt.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's not necessarily.
But if it's a
necessary.
first or second down, it's not very good.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Who do you think emerges, Miles Kyler or Michael Kazaka, if Hold My Beer are to win?
Miles Keller, just because, as we mentioned, Los Banditos has the speed to take away a guy like Michael Kazaka out of the game on deep throws, and Miles Keller is just too good with Brad Evans on timing routes.
That's fair. The next game in this bowl is Trigger Happy Bunnies, who are the 5th team of whatever,
Del Rocca pool.
and Primetime are the first team of
Dajne pool.
Dashny Pool. Man, we need to work on just our infrastructure for this. It's so hard.
It's
to
so
keep
weird.
track of how things have emerged.
It shouldn't have been it should have just stayed the same bowls. We'll work on it.
Yeah,
guys.
like the naming and stuff
We'll figure it out.
needs to be improved.
We just wanted to hear our names repeated over and
I
over again.
didn't. I saw.
It's
my
not you.
name.
It's David.
Nice. But when I saw our family name, I was like, "Oh, this is stupid."
It's a DDR pool.
Yeah.
Dance Dance Revolution.
That's
Why is he here?
You're having an off day, huh?
So their last game
Trigger Happy Bunnies. Take on Primetime.
won their last game 39-13.
Yes.
But that was a very different situation. First of all, it was week one.
Because
First of all, it was week one. So for the trigger happy bunny at Jonathan Amira's quarterback instead of Simon Richard, which is very different. Also, back then they were very dominant, and they've been kind of falling off the wagon recently.
They started drinking again.
Eh?
They started drinking again?
Possibly.
Because, I mean, they fell off the wagon. That's usually what you mean by that.
And primetime had a hard time in the first few games in FPF to
It's also
figure out
not the
FPF,
same
right?
prime time as the season, so they had new pieces who hadn't played FPF before.
Yes, exactly.
And then one thing specifically, in the Louis Cyr League, the flags are different. So learning to deflag in FPF is a little bit different from...
Okay.
So lots of free yards were given in that game.
Okay. So that kind of explains that.
Yeah, just adding to your point. I'm just adding to your point, Simon.
So knowing this...
I'm not disagreeing with you. I know you don't know what that feels like.
So knowing this, coming into this game, Trigger Happy Buddies will be very confident saying, oh, we destroyed these guys by 26 points. But this should feel like a brand new matchup. Like you've never played these guys before. Because it's not... You're basically not facing the same team, and you don't have the same team playing against them.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's the way I see it.
I like both these teams. To be honest, they're both teams full of good dudes.
Agreed.
I know a lot of the guys on both teams, so it's personal interest to me.
What?
I think Trigger Happy Bunnies are just too much competence on defense for the typical plays.
Did you say competence?
Competence.
Okay, I heard that.
From the typical plays that we see from Stephen Harper-Saul.
Okay.
So he's going to have to dig deep in his playbook, I think.
Okay.
And find different ways to expose the defense.
So we know the corners are going to be JD Jetty and Pat Lindor. They're not the type of guys. They're very talented players for the tier they play in.
Pick on Lindor.
To Eagles' point, and this is not a shot at Pat Lindor at all, who I've coached with, who I've played with, who's an all-around nice dude.
Yes.
Saw him once at the SAQ in RDP.
Interesting.
Of all places. But just to say, Pat's talented. Immensely talented. He also does bizarre things.
A lot of mental mistakes.
And that's, I think, if your question is, because you'll let you ask the question, because we all read the script and the audience didn't, your question was, where can they go given that? I think that there's a lot of talent and route running on prime time. And what Lindor tends to do on his side of the field is just drop immediately because he's looking to make a big play.
Yes.
So if you can hit underneath constantly, and then when he tries to bite, then take the chance to go over top.
Because he does that a lot. He's going to give you the coverage that I'm playing safety, I'm the guy over top. But on certain key downs, he's going to shoot
absolutely
very aggressively.
But even though he's responsible for the back spot.
Yeah. Even though he's responsible.
So you have to sort of like stack receivers on that side. So like a corner with a short hook, for example, or a hook with like a 10-yard out,
and just in a corner over top,
and or just trips on that side and send like three down the sideline at different lengths.
Know that he cheats, and use it to your advantage.
Absolutely. So that in that way, and I wouldn't say pick on him because he also can make you pay because
Don't pick on him.
Talent. I will say there are things you can take advantage of on his side of the field.
If you have very good route runners,
Josh Levine, for example.
If you have very good route runners, they'll understand if you give a corner and a hook pattern, they'll understand the depth at which to run it to open up for the other guy. They're not going to give you a 12-yard hook with a corner.
Yeah, so if they're running a hook and let's say with a corner over top, if they see Pat biting short, they're going to just run like a hitch basically.
Yes,
and then that corner is open by itself.
And the thing about the primetime offense is it's a very smart system and very methodological.
Mythological?
That's the one. So
Minotaurs?
So I was going to say, you can't just put Lindor in a one-on-one matchup where I would say he would excel, right, to shut down a guy. It's a system designed to prevent one-on-one, so you need to make the smart play.
With that mentality, we're looking at fewer possessions if you're very methodological offense, and to that, a guy like Simon Richard should not excel offensively. He's going to need more possessions to score because he might make mistakes as a quarterback. He's a fairly new quarterback in FPF. Knowing that if you give him fewer possessions, he's going to make at least one or two mistakes, and they might not be able to score more than 20 points.
For sure. Simon.
Yes.
People may not know.
Hi.
That you are the czar of FPF.
He's on.
I
think people know now.
the czar of FPF Awards.
I think people know now.
Well, they know now because you
Terry told the world.
they told the world of your
The
tyranny
only vote I did not cast was the one I was
when you voted for
beheaded
yourself
for.
as
Yes,
sort of
apparently.
a all-star.
Yes, apparently. You know who voted for me.
Yes, Simon Dajani 3 times.
Yes, apparently.
I heard Russia was involved. I heard Russia was involved.
WikiLeaks.
That said, would you like to take this opportunity to let us know who won the awards?
Sure. So I thought about breaking it down in a different way, but we won't because, well, the Eagle wasn't ready. So we'll start with Tier 2 because it's a Tier 2 show. The quarterback of the year was between 2 guys that are playing against each other this week, which is very interesting. But the winner is Charles-Olivier Leving from Allux.
Mm-hmm.
You know it.
Don't. That's going to make this take forever.
It's the worst.
He's the only one who gets a clap. Nobody gets a clap.
So you know him. You've seen him play. There's a game of the week of Charles-Olivier Leving playing where he has 2 40-yard rushing touchdowns. It's ridiculous. He's very talented. He's very good. So congratulations to him.
And that's the thing that gets lost a lot of times with quarterbacks is
Rushing
the
yards,
rushing touchdowns are still touchdowns.
rushing yards, rushing touchdowns. They're still
They're still
offensive
you're
yards.
moving your offense. You're responsible for moving your offense, and you're not penalized for being
It's a
mobile.
quarterback award, not a passer award.
Correct.
So
So-
running also.
So that's why, for example, he beat out Pat Saint-Amand with 39 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, and that's
Yep.
why he beat out Guatemala Swanaminhan with 35 touchdowns
Yes.
and 4 interceptions.
And it was close between him and Danny, and it went to Charles.
Daniel, what do you mean?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
The receiver award goes to the guy that you've been giving a lot of credit to all season, and Etienne Vaillancourt from Voodoo.
Mm-hmm.
He was not known to be a receiver. He wasn't really used in the zoo offense.
But I saw him last season when he played against Playing Command, and he burned Sammy Big for 4 touchdowns.
Oh,
Sammy
okay.
Big is not an incompetent
So that
player.
was kind of like his breakout game.
Yeah. Thanks.
But he
Thanks,
was,
Etienne.
but he wasn't used so much offensively before for zoo, and I think he's kind of breaking out as a receiver, and he's finding his niche. So good for him. And this was a great season for him.
16 touchdowns in a season, in a
That's
shortened season.
That's
53 catches in 8 games. That's insane.
That's insane.
That's
That's
foolish.
ridiculous.
I just want to wash my tongue.
The defensive back award goes to Kevin Boustany
Boost.
from X-Men. He's had, I think he has 3 pick sixes. It's ridiculous.
And out of 6 interceptions.
Yeah.
Out of 6 interceptions. Yeah, right.
In like 8 games, it's ridiculous numbers. He had a very dominant year for X-Men. It's the reason why X-Men's defense was so dominant. So congrats to him. And the two-way player award for Tier 2 goes to Brandon Elward.
I was going to say, that's why he wasn't necessarily
Who played
considered.
a bunch of other positions. Like he played quarterback for 2 weeks, and his numbers
It wasn't
are still
terrible. It was fine.
No. I mean, like his receiver numbers are still up there, although he missed 2 games technically playing quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, he's way too down. He has 2 games with almost 200 yards receiving.
Yep.
It's
Great season.
it's crazy, to say the least. So yeah, that's the reason why he wasn't winner of receiver or DB, because we give two-way first. And you can only win.
Should we announce that first in that case, so that way people know like why?
Why wasn't I considered for this? Maybe we should have. Maybe we should have started with two-way.
Like I know we always do that where we give 2A last, but
Maybe we should
it
start with
seems
that.
like a bizarre practice.
Fun fact: all those 4 players came from the highest bowl, highest pool group, and everything, which means that it wasn't just a walk in the park. They also had to compete against "quote unquote" the best teams.
But they
to get
also
those
are
stats.
also likely the best players.
Agreed. But basically, they stand up amongst the top of the top, right?
Yep. It's true. You want to do tier 1 now, or you want to do it later?
Tier 1.
Okay.
I have the page loaded.
So we'll start with the two-way since we'll do it this way now.
Yeah.
So two-way player.
Producing on the air.
So two-way player.
If only we had someone who did production on this show.
I know, right? If it's
Yeah,
only we
it'd
had
be
somebody
nice.
in charge of this,
Just thinking for 5 seconds. And
Or-
not having his head up his ball.
or just looking at us with his hand on his mouth, like, "Hey guys."
I like mice.
So two-way player of the year in tier 1 was Serge Pilon Jr. Yeah, like he has a bunch of pick sixes. His receiving yards are ridiculous. He had a very dominant year for DK.
Just as a receiver, for example, 23 catches. 13 of those 23 catches are touchdowns.
13 touchdowns in 8 weeks is a lot.
In tier 1 especially. And
Is a lot.
having the impact on defense that he had as well.
Yes. So he's very deserving. It was a great award to give. QB,
Mhm.
Goes shocking. Goes to Kevin Wyatt. I hate to give it to Kevin because basically it's his own
He
award.
knows you hate him.
I know. He tells me all the time.
Technically, it's not his own award, but if he does win the Wyeth Bowl, it will be.
So why isn't Dan Lazara?
Okay, so the
he do 50 touchdowns.
yes.
And like, so I know he knows you hate him already.
Who Dan?
Yeah, tacos.
Oh no, Tacos hates you.
Actually, we started at the gym this week. It was bizarre. It was like,
So
I didn't know people exist outside of FPF.
So one of the biggest reason why Dan didn't win, aside it's the fact that Kevin is 8-0 and Dan is 6-2. Like
Stupid.
I know you
Go ahead.
disagree with that.
Because
First
winning
of all,
is a team stat.
first of all, his stats are better. Kevin Wyatt's stats are better. So there's also that. Like
Because four interceptions is greater than 2 touchdowns.
yes.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you.
100%. So the way I
Like,
see it,
why is every time I speak, you think I'm disagreeing with you?
so Kevin had better stats, but also when they played each other on Game of the Week,
Mhm.
Dan did not have his best outing.
That's dumb.
But it's not just like they only scored 6 times. Is if you look at the throws they both made,
But the stats
Kevin had a
award.
better game. Yes, okay. So
Who
yeah,
cares?
who has the better stats?
So then it ends there. That's
Okay.
the end of the conversation.
So there you go.
I think to Simone's point, if you say they're equivalent from a statistical perspective, even though there's a slight edge there, when they actually matched up against each other, Wyeth was the better quarterback. So if you put all other things equal,
So-
Wyeth wins.
So if it was close, but Dan had better stats, let's say it was the inverse.
Yes.
So you wouldn't give Dan the award because Kevin
How
played better?
How close is it?
This close.
Well, it's not that close. Kevin wins this just purely based on stats.
But he should only win based
yes,
on
yes,
stats. That's what I'm
I
saying.
agree. Like that's the
You don't agree. You just said the opposite.
No, it's like another argument for it. There's
think-
multiple arguments.
So if Dan had Kevin's stats and Kevin had Dan's stats and they played against each other the same way in the game of the week, you'd give the trophy to?
It's not the case, so we don't.
I'm
have to
asking you
discuss it. I don't
if it
know.
were the case.
I don't know.
You're in the hot seat, Simone.
I don't know. Depends on the situation.
He would give the award to Simone Dejeuner.
Yeah,
Probably.
No, he'd probably give the word to Kevin Wyatt for foolish reasons, which shows that
Why?
he is incapable
Kevin didn't win the
of
previous one.
truly. No, I'm saying if the inverse were true.
But the
What-
inverse is not.
Correct. That's why I said if. Do you need me to buy you a dictionary for Christmas?
A what?
So I'm just saying you're unfit to do this job.
Okay, do it next time.
No,
There you
don't
go.
want to.
There you go. So
Simo is
the
fit to do this job.
so the next award is the one that Rob posted on Facebook.
No, let's do that one last. It's a surprise.
Yeah.
Oh, too late. It's not a surprise anymore. So, receiver of the year in tier 1 is Mathieu Lepage, and it's not.
Also,
It's not even close.
you just had to look at the stats page to know.
It's not even close. Like if you just put it by whatever category you want to put it at, Mathieu's on top.
Jenny Citino says, Matt Lepage me doit une bière.
It's fair. Although you missed like 2 games, so technically it's not true.
Hmm.
He also was fed by Matt René also. So
But I mean, he still
And-
scored 16 touchdowns.
in
So
8
it doesn't
games.
matter, in 8 games.
That's
To be fair, both receivers of the year in both tiers did that. so it's not more impressive. It's just also impressive.
it just shows the
Parallel excellence.
and the last but not least award, defensive back DB, is Jordan McLaren from Fine Wine, who had he only played 6 weeks, 6 games, has 6 interceptions, so basically 1 per game, and has
Yeah.
2 pick sixes. There was also
Which dinosaur do you think he looks like?
what?
Which dinosaur do you
I
think he
don't
looks like? I'm not thinking.
I
you
have no
would
idea.
know.
I actually have no idea.
Would you consider the Predator as a dinosaur?
You can't see the predator.
But if you could, it would be Jordan McLaren.
I can see predator. I can see predator. I was thinking for some reason like a tall stegosaurus.
He's not spiky.
He looks spiky. Like he plays spiky.
What's going on?
Would is he the Stegosaurus with the spikes on the tail or the big like boulder one? 'Cause there's a different name for that one. Yeah,
that's not a stegosaurus.
it's
I was
not,
thinking
but
spiky one. I
it's
was
yeah,
thinking spiky
the
one.
spiky one.
Yeah. The other one like is like a play something sort. Yeah. Yes. It's like a big like bulging bone out of his head.
Yeah, and even the tail has a big
Yeah.
like sledgehammer type tail.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's cool. I like dinosaurs.
We're reminiscing about our childhood playing with dinosaurs.
Jordan McLaren, congratulations. Defensive player of the year and best stegosaurus I've seen in years. Is there a topic you want to talk about?
Well,
Because you posted some topics here. I just don't know how to. I don't know how to segue into them because I don't know what you mean.
you mean that we're all Charlies?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I think I know where this is going. I think this is gonna be a poorly placed joke. In
It
poor
is.
taste. Oh man,
It
go
is.
ahead.
Well, it depends. Do you want to start and then I say no, that's not it, or
No, go ahead.
okay? So I was on 9gag previously this week For those of you who don't know Langak, you should download the app. It's fantastic.
Go to Reddit.
So,
Code Red?
Reddit.
so the post was saying, did you guys ever wonder what your dogs nicknamed you?
Okay.
Like we all nickname our own dogs. Did you see? You see what I did there?
I mean, I don't want to care for another living thing, so I don't have a pet.
Okay, but if you would have a dog, what would he name you?
Food bag?
I'd like to be the supreme leader.
No, they wouldn't see you that way.
No, they would not. They would probably make fun of you. And dogs are very nice, and they love everybody.
There's nobody who would ever consider you a supreme leader. If your face,
Not even obedient animals.
no.
You go.
But I think dogs think that you're being obedient because you wake
Yes.
up at 5:30 to walk them.
You also
not vice
give them
versa.
everything they want at all times, and they
Yeah.
always forget about things. So you always come back to them, and you're always friendly to them.
So they're like a woman.
I mean, I was trying not to be sexist on the show.
Eagle,
okay.
Eagle, can you look up something for me? What's the
Trying to get cancelled on on a show that doesn't even have
the
true
most
sponsors?
frequent dog name? The
Buddy, I think. No?
I don't know. That's why you have to look it up.
He's like you. He doesn't do research. Yeah, I would just think it would be like the guy who walks me, or
No, they're too friendly for that. Like, you obviously never had a dog to say stupid things like that. So a dog loves you too much to just give you a generic nickname. So they would actually care
you
enough.
think they love you.
Eh.
Because again, they have you mind control.
So you're saying licking my face is not love? It's just
No.
plain hate.
Dude, if
I actually don't enjoy
I
that.
promise you, if I come lick your face, it's not love. It's me showing you I'm superior to you.
Tucker, Bear, Duke, Toby, Rocky,
Duke is
Bailey,
fun.
Chloe, Sophie, Maggie, Sadie.
People are dumb.
Interesting.
People
Those are all
dumb
like
things.
real people's names.
Yeah, yeah.
Inter-
So it's what my brother has a pug. His name is Snoop, famously.
Yes.
Those who know him. We were joking about getting a pug, and we're going to call him Notorious PUG. That was going to be our name.
It's glorious.
And we're going to call him Puggy for short.
That's glorious.
I know, right? It's a good name.
Better than Snoop.
I mean, it's debatable, but I tend to agree. The next game in the Akked Moore Bowl is between Sunday Touch Boys and Dawson Cast Finest. Dawson Cast Finest are a team that's truly impressed me. Eagle, where are they from?
Sunday Touch Boys from third place in the Dagenais pool. Dawson's Calf Finest is first place in the Louis pool.
Yeah, Jonathan Louis pool.
Yes, I know.
Not,
I worked with him.
Our audience might
not the Joe Louis pool.
That would be great.
Yeah.
We should have made that.
I'd rather
The name was pool.
yeah, Twinkie pool, Passion Flaky pool.
I was about to say that. Passion fake people.
I've been really impressed by Dawson Cast Finest.
Me too.
They're still figuring out what to do.
Me too. I feel like they've gone a long way since week 1.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is that the last time these two teams played? Oh no, they played week 2.
and that's one of the reasons why I'm picking Dawson Cats Finest
We're
over.
not doing picks yet.
Are we doing picks at all? I wrote the script. There's no point. It
The end
says
of the
picks.
show.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Interesting.
We didn't pick the game yet.
Interesting.
Sunday Touch Boys won that game
Yes, you picked
13
Warriors.
to 12.
Yes.
All points scored in the second half in this one. Both quarterbacks not so good.
To your previous point, yes, you picked one.
But Dawson's Cast Finest have added.
Yeah, the game is complete. Their team is
It's a completely different team, and they have this really tall dude who I wrote about in my article, but I don't remember his name now. But that dude's insanely tall, and just jump balls are a joke for him.
So, Sunday Touch Boys, yes, Sunday Touch Boys is also a brand new team to FPF.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I don't see the same kind of growth from them that I see from Dawson Cats Finest.
They need to get Jason Javier involved heavily,
Yes,
like throughout the game. He needs.
he needs to get more targets and he's the kind of guy that when he gets involved earlier, like when he scores first, then the team kind of gets motivated and then they manage to get plays going. If offensively early on they don't score, they get like down on themselves and then it just goes from bad to worse quickly.
Yeah.
So to go to him earlier in the game rather than later could possibly help them score quicker and then put everybody back, like motivate everybody to play, and then the other guys can make plays also.
Yeah. The next game is between Sons of Mitches, who are the 4th ranked team from the
Dagenais pool again.
and the 5th ranked team from
The Dagenais pool.
the Dagenais pool. So the Sons of
North Shore
Mitches
Finners.
4 taking on 5 North Shore Finners. Last time they played was week 7, where Sons of Mitches won 25-19. It's a game where I expected less of Sons of Mitches, and they've surprised me.
Well-
I've expected more of North Shore Finners, and they've let me down.
So
I've been heartbroken.
it's the game that Jordan Williams got hurt
Mhm.
and he was forced to Vince Romano was forced to sub in, and he had his best game so far. Threw 4 touchdowns in about a half, like a little bit more than half a game. He looked very dominant, and I was very eager to see what Sons of Mitches would do moving forward with him as quarterback. And it has not been glorious, to say the least.
Yeah.
Like, he had no touchdowns and 3 picks last week.
That's
So knowing that, it's going to be a slightly different outcome coming into the game. They played against when they played against Notre Refiners, they had Gabriel Grando, who had like 150 yards and
143 TDs and 6 receptions.
So if you have that, and he only had a handful of targets, he was not being fed at all.
There were 9 completions in that game, 173 yards total, so 140 at 173, and 6 of 9 completions. That's basically all your offense.
He was the only piece of offense, but he wasn't fed. Like, the incompletes were into him. So knowing that, should he be more involved in the offense?
I mean, yes.
Can they stop him? Can Sons of Mitches, do they have anybody that's tall and fast enough to stop him?
Sons of Mitch's defense is good, but what they do well is schematic. I don't know if they have a one guy who can lock him down. So if Eagle had to write down their strategy, I don't think he'd have necessarily an answer.
Well, they have Jared Stewart, who's quick and fast.
Yeah.
So possibly.
They have one dude who's really tall too.
Yeah, Matthew Agostine.
That's it, Matthew Agostino. That's who I was thinking.
But
Matthew
he doesn't have the speed to
yeah, we
match
give
up.
him a cushion.
Yeah,
Make him try and beat you 5 yards at a time.
I think this is the kind of game where Sons of Mitches, if they want to win, they'll need to adjust. So they can't just sit and do what they usually do and expect it to work. You're going to have to move people around.
Does Vince Romano go to his new offensive weapon, Armando Trotta, for a big, more than 2 catch game?
More than 2 catch game?
Yeah.
No.
It would match his career total.
No, exactly. You might have a catch in the game. No, I don't think so.
Probably not. I mean, statistically, it's not likely.
Statistically, why not?
Eagle, you can say something.
This is the type of game where if you don't have anyone that can specifically take away a receiver, you're stuck playing zone effectively the entire game, and that opens you up to other weaknesses potentially, right? They know you're going to be in some type of zone protection, so they figure out which one you're playing or which guy you're dropping deep, and they'll pick you apart. So having that, not being able to mix it up is really going to hurt them in this one.
No, I agree.
For sure. Yeah, we'll get to picks after that. Eagle, you got a topic here.
Oh, you wanted to bring down the hammer on him?
Yeah, it's coming.
See what it did there?
It's because I think Eagle is what's wrong with the world.
Well, there's a lot of things wrong with the world.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm one of them.
No, you're the bulk of it.
Well, no.
The thing you represent is what's wrong with the world.
What?
Go ahead.
Small rich guys?
Yes.
So we should beat him up in parking lots.
So, to be sure, we're talking about the same topic. We're talking about movies.
Hammers.
Yes, movies.
Okay, so if you guys aren't aware, Thor Ragnarok, probably the 19th, 20th, I don't know, somewhere in the high 10th Marvel movie in a row has been released.
It was really good.
I went to go watch it. It's really good. 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. Another masterpiece, as far as people say, in terms of production.
I agree.
You can argue Marvel had a little bit of a slow streak at one point, and now they're back up. Guardians 2 was good. Yeah, Black Panther looks amazing coming up. Next year you have Infinity Wars. Anyway, and then in comparison, you have Justice League coming out actually tonight. Wonder Woman was considered good. I would argue not great, but good.
It was very good, actually. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You're just sexist.
By itself, or in comparison to the previous
like
Man of Steel and BVS entries?
I disagree.
By itself.
I like the show. I like the movie.
Okay.
That was a very good movie.
So Justice League, not so good.
Based on a movie you haven't seen yet.
Based on a movie I haven't seen yet.
So you need people to tell you what to think before making your own judgment as to whether or not you like something.
Okay, so in comparison, it got 40% on Rotten Tomatoes.
So you need other people to tell you what to think.
So based on Eagle's point,
Yeah.
based on Rotten Tomato, which I usually use for every movie critic, some of my favorite movies are like 18%.
Yes.
It's the way they rate things.
Yes.
Like, they hate Transformers.
But here's the thing. The thing is also, there's a bias in terms of there are certain things people love to hate. For example, the Eagles' point is why DC sucks so much.
At movies.
Yeah, why do they suck in making movies? Their comic books are arguably way better than Marvel's. Their storylines are more intricate and interesting and deep in character development.
I would say if there's a problem, part of the problem is Zack Snyder can't tell a story.
Yeah, but this one over here, Joss Whedon took over.
Yes, but I'm also unwilling to say it's bad before I personally see it.
That's fair. That's fair.
I agree with that.
I don't feel the need to jump on something first. I'd rather be informed than first. which is where you're the problem with the world today, because you want to be first,
So,
you don't want to be right.
Let me
that's
let me ask the question in a different way. Is there something that Marvel does that DC doesn't do that
Yes,
has people
I think-
believe their movies are better?
They make them lighter. They make them girl friendlier.
Well, Wonder Woman was pretty.
Wonder Woman was definitely a movie you take your girlfriend to and have great sex after.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what they did right.
And or partner.
And I was gonna say, by the way, Suicide Squad as a movie people forgot existed was not terrible.
It was great.
Not
I
you're
liked
wrong.
it.
You're absolutely
Yes,
wrong.
it was great. I liked
It
it.
was a good movie.
Yes.
It was people liked it. People didn't like it, disliked it for reasons that made no sense. There wasn't enough Joker. It's not about him. They conveyed an idea of a love story between someone who is abusive and truly loves his partner. That's something very difficult to do.
What I liked about Suicide Squad, since we're talking about it, is the fact that they did not fear touching about a lot of things that you just mentioned,
Mhm.
but people quickly scope out and look at other
Yeah,
things.
because Eagle just like, it's a DC movie. It's
the
terrible.
action was
I'm
not
gonna
great.
hate it before I get into. Before
The
I watch
action was
it.
not great. Okay, come on, guy.
the plot didn't make any sense. None of the characters were memorable. The
this guy.
dialogue was awful.
How are they not
the,
memorable?
How is
The
Harley Quinn-
cinematography
how is
was
Harley Quinn-
garbage.
No,
The
no, you're just
special
you're-
effects was
You're
bad.
just saying things without fact.
Yeah, I was
You're
arguing
not backing-
not memorable.
How is Harley Quinn not a memorable character?
They turned her into a pure sex symbol. She
Yes.
has a hammer.
Which
She's fighting.
That's exactly
which
what
she
she
has. She has been for over a decade.
She's
Next.
fighting aliens with a hammer.
Yes,
It's also
like
exactly what
Thor.
she does.
Go ahead. Next.
I would argue Mojin actually has powers associated to it. So anyway,
Dude, they're street level criminal.
then why are they fighting like aliens from space?
Do you-
With
do you-
Why not?
superpowers?
Do you
Because
even
it's-
know the background? Have you ever
The
read-
actual Suicide Squad comic books and or animated series and or movies and everything are amazing because it's basically a glorified version of basically a theft movie and everything, right? Like a
Yes.
job. This over here doesn't make any sense. The characters don't fit the plot. I digress. Let's go back to the topic. Marvel versus DC. Why is Marvel good at movies? Why is DC bad?
I think it's
that, I think
conception,
there's a smaller sample size for DC, and some of the DC movies have been absolute misses.
in my opinion, not to cut you off, but
But to cut me
but to go along with your point is they're not worse. It's just, as you mentioned, Marvel now makes movies that are lighter. So if you watch Thor, it's not about Thor anymore. Well, yes, the storyline basically is about him, but there's so many other people involved in the movie that it feels like
you forget that Marvel has no villains.
but it also feels like
Character
another
development.
Avenger, right? Like it
What?
feels like another show with like 5 or 6 characters like Avenger.
So it's a plot with character development. Is what
yes,
you're
but there was
saying.
also lots of character development in Suicide Squad. Which you don't make sense.
have you seen Thor?
They had backstories for each single character.
Have you seen Thor?
Yeah, which just existed in a vacuum.
Because
And then there's Slingshot.
'Cause
The
you're
end.
You're telling me the story about the Thor
Yeah, you're
Ragnarok.
wrong.
The story about Thor.
And here's
wa-
Katana.
was
She
a
has a
good plot.
sword.
yes, her name is Sword.
Anyway.
Your argument is
Yeah,
invalid.
your argument is invalid.
The plot in Thor
I'm
was
sorry,
not good.
you're being unintelligible.
So we got some games left, right?
Yes. Sorry, I brought that up specifically to make fun of you.
we wanted to bring down
Because-
the hammer.
Again, rather than being informed, you'd rather just be first,
He wants to be
just like in the bedroom.
nicely done.
Pat Jerome Bowl. Let's
Yes.
go. I'm not going to talk a lot about this one. I'm going to
not?
make fun of you because of your analysis, but because I see your notes. Farmers 2 take on Blacksox 5. Last game was
In this Louis Bowl.
25-12 game between Blacksox and Farmers, where the Farmers won.
Yes.
Who are Farmers, Eagle?
Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum.
We are Farmers. Today, man.
I give up.
Go ahead.
So, in my opinion, this is the bowl that Farmers should win. It's their bowl to lose, basically. They have the best roster, and
They do.
they've been playing.
Because, by the way, Greenaway, Legault,
Corey Greenway.
Corey Greenway, Jonathan
Legault.
Legault, I forgot all their first names, and there's one other dude.
Well, I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, go give me
Okay.
analysis. Like
So-
it just slipped my mind.
So the way I see it, this is Farmers has been improving tremendously since their last spring-winter seasons. They've been playing really, really well. I believe Farmers have the potential to, first off, make the finals and then win them,
Mhm.
unless they play terribly. So, to me, in my opinion, Farmers are the favorite in this bowl by a long shot. Blacksox are kind of just like
Nicolas Lefebvre.
Blacksox
Awesome.
are kind of like a pebble in the way of how strong Farmers are right now. All this considered, it's possible that Farmers do not, like, there's a way for Blacksox to win.
Oh, I already know what it is.
Okay, cool.
I won't
So
talk about it, but-
This is another Week 9 rematch, by the way.
Yes. So that's not really the argument, but if Farmers are able to score more than 4 touchdowns, they'll win.
Mhm.
I don't see Blacksox having the offensive output to match 25 plus points.
I disagree.
Cool. But there's a way for Farmers for Benoit Robidoux to have one of those typical 3 interception night
Mhm.
where he does not have enough
He
possessions
started last game, by the
to
way.
score enough.
The last game he started by throwing 2 interceptions.
That's brutal.
in the first 2 drives.
That's very brutal.
Yeah.
If that happens, and in the different atmosphere the playoffs gives you, you won't have enough possessions to come back in this game.
Mhm.
So it's going to come down to the first half where this is probably something
I agree. That I will agree with. It's
that
the
you-
first half game.
that you never hear because it's not something, they'll come back in the second half. This is the type of game that Farmers need to score twice or 3 times in the first half
Yeah.
alone.
I
to
feel
get a
like
lead.
whoever comes out with a big lead early wins the game.
Yeah.
The other team can't keep up. Like neither team is meant to play from behind.
If either team scores on their back-to-back on their back-to-back drives,
Mhm.
they'll probably win.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sort of looking forward to this game
Okay.
in some way.
So is this the game where you get ahead and then you run out the clock?
I think the clock's going to run out by itself.
It just will. Like
I think-
neither team is a big
The offense,
low team.
either teams don't have the offense to go no huddle and quickly and push the clock over. So it's going to be.
I can say my experience for Blacksox. For those who don't know, I'm the quarterback for Blacksox. I came late into the season to help out some guys who just really didn't know the game.
After you got back from injury, pretty much?
After I got back from injury, although I was injured this past game, so it was a little bit of a setback. Healing is fun. So once I got back from injury, I was able to actually, because I've been helping them along throughout the season, but I was actually able to physically play. Sometimes I'm in the huddle and we run out of time because I'm explaining the routes because they're not guys who know football. They're guys who are learning the game. That said, I've been impressed by their ability to learn quickly, but they're still learning that way.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons it slows down the game versus when you see my offense with 1-speed power. I played with the same guy so long that it's 2-3 words in the huddle and we're already back on the field. It's virtually no huddle. So it's definitely different.
So to stop making this whole thing about you,
No, but I'm saying
tell me one guy on Black
I'm
Sox.
saying on our side that's
Yeah.
how we told it. And I say similarly, they take a lot of time in the huddle as well.
If there's one guy on Black Sox that needs to have a dominant game, who is it?
Mario Falato.
What?
He's not a guy people know. The thing about Black Sox,
He's the guy with interceptions.
yes, but the thing about Black Sox is they're insanely fast.
Okay.
Where Mike Adona is the 4th fastest guy on this team.
Okay.
So, for example, Phil Santos, insanely fast. Mario Falato, insanely fast. Nico Lani is
Oh, he's a speedster.
Yeah.
Oof.
I've seen him before. He's
like these guys are not guys who are refined route runners. They're not guys, but they're learning. And man, you can't teach speed. You know what I mean?
It's true. That's one thing.
So that's what I would say. He to me is the guy who has the capacity, I think, to take over the game. He had to snap last game because Mario at the snap last game because Brian Pereira hurt his finger the week before and couldn't bend them.
That's terrible.
Yeah, so it was pretty rough. But Brian will be back at snapper this week.
Brian's going to step this week, yeah? So he didn't injure his finger for 4 years?
No, he's not Wukan.
So to go hand in hand with the Black Sox game, the Bruins are playing the Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
As some of you may know, the Bruins and Black Sox are kind of
You didn't see the thing that I knew was going to be that you knew I was going to make fun of you for. But go ahead.
But the fact that the quarterback throws interceptions because he's colorblind.
Because it's the easiest analysis. Go ahead. Go continue being lazy elsewhere.
I didn't want to say it.
Ducks take on Bruins.
I wrote this just for you,
Yeah,
but you know,
Ducks take on Bruins.
Yeah. So the Ducks have what I like to consider a very high flying offense in Tier 2.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense does not make a lot of stops, but their offense can put up 40 points, which is something very impressive. When you look at it, there's not a lot of teams in Tier 2 alone that could score 40 points regularly.
Yeah.
Like it's to score 40 points is kind of difficult. So in this case, I would say that the Ducks have the opportunity to go. If they could keep this game with a very fast pace, they have the best shot at winning.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you get as many opportunities, as many possessions as possible. Give the same opportunities to Bruins. So if you have 7, they're going to have 7. But that favors Ducks a lot more than it favors Bruins.
I agree.
So fast tempo all the way out. Deep throws, quick patterns, quick plays. Get the ball out quickly. If you go 40 bombs and score, good. do it as often as
But I know
possible.
Bruins will make a concerted effort to slow down the game as well. So it
I
will be
hope they
tough
do.
for Ducks to do it, but if Ducks get 2 scores, they won't be able to keep doing
But
that.
it's also like it gets in your head as a player when they just scored with 2 plays, like 1 play, 2 play. They score really, really quickly. You get back on offense. It's tough to tell your guys to calm down. Let's play your game. And if you don't score right away, which could happen, like if you don't score on the following drive, so it's 6-0, then turns into 12-0. Everybody in your huddle wants to go out there and score right now. There's
Yes.
the game plan just went out the door, and we need to score right now. And that's exactly what Ducks need to put in Bruins' heads.
This is another Week 9 rematch, so the last 2 games are going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah.
See, basically, like I'll call it the new team. See how much you remember and how much your football IQ improved since the last game.
Yeah, and it's definitely what I like about this was the two newer teams in Ducks and Bruins facing off, and like Blacksox are new, but there's experience on Blacksox and Farmers being experienced. So the 2 teams facing each other in this bowl will make for good football. Man.
Yeah.
I think it's a more interesting bowl than people will give
Yeah,
it credit
I
for on
agree.
the surface. Let's do our picks quickly.
Okay.
Ducks Bruins.
Ducks.
Ducks as well. Eagle.
I'm going to go Bruins.
Farmers Blacksox.
Farmers.
Blacksox.
Not picking, but I like your pick, Eagle. Sons of Mitches, North Shore Finners.
Sons of Mitches.
Finners.
No, remind that. Finners.
Okay. Oh yeah, I didn't make a pick. I'm gonna go North Shore Finners because I hate Sons of Mitches. Sunday Touch Boys against Dawson Cavs Finest.
Dawson.
DCF.
Yeah.
Trigger Happy Bunnies versus Prime Time.
Trigger Happy Bunny.
Prime time.
What time is the game happening? Is it between 7 and 9? Doesn't matter. Prime time. Give it to me. Hold My Beer versus Los Banditos.
Oh, my beer.
Hold my beer.
That's what you'll be doing later. Hold My Beer.
Okay, what are you going to do? Tricks?
Well, no,
Jump off the bar?
When we get to the bar, I need to go to
Tricks
the
are for
washroom.
kids.
So you need to hold my beer for a second. Lockdown versus Warriors. Warriors by double digits.
Yes, sir.
Simon.
Double digits.
Sorry,
No.
I don't see you guys competing.
No,
in this
single
game at all.
digit. 1 score.
No, I think it'll be a late score, but I think it'll be double digits. All Hooks versus Greendale Human Beings.
Greendale human beings.
Hooks all day, all the time. All Hooks.
Greendale wins by a point. which is
All
really
Hooks win by 2.5 points.
I'm going to go with all hooks. COL is dominant in this one. Charlotte, if you're living.
Like, what's he spelling? X-Men Voodoo.
Voodoo.
Give me that magic, baby.
I'm going to go X-Men. You forgot a game, by the way.
Which game?
NoName Mean Machine.
Oh, sorry. I did because it wasn't bolded. It was not emboldened. I will say, however, NoName will be emboldened to win this game.
Me machine.
Mean Machine.
Me machine.
Mean Machine.
Final thoughts?
No riddle?
No riddle. This week we're running super
Come
late.
on! I loved it last week.
Next. it
We all laughed last week when I said pigeon.
was good. I told Natalia, she laughed for a
It
while.
was good
too.
times. I was expecting a riddle. It made like the highlight of my week. I'm sad
I
now.
know. We'll do it at the bar.
I hate you, Eagle.
We'll do Facebook Live at the bar.
That was my final thought. I hate you, Eagle.
Eagle?
I'm looking forward to the rules committee coming up. If you haven't sent us your rule yet, please go ahead and do so. Reach out to anyone on staff. We have a long suggestion of them, and it should be fun.
It's fine. And the longer it is, the better it is.
Are you going to that meeting?
If possibly. I actually don't know if I'll be able to attend.
Can you let me know so I know if I have to
Yes,
go?
but anyways, player representatives, it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, people. If it's either me or Peeze.
Put it this way: if Simon doesn't show up, you're in good hands.
Yeah. Okay.
Am I going for 1, going for 2? I will go for 1 because we're running out of time and Eagle looks mad. We have a meeting immediately after this that will take place in a place with wings and beer where we will discuss what we are doing as a final product for the show for the finals.
FPF game day.
Yeah, we're not going to do the traditional play-by-play like we do for the finals because there's just too many games. The setup's not really conducive to that. So we're going to set up something. We're calling it FPF Game Day. Stay tuned for details next week or something.
Soon.